Hello everybody and welcome back to the Lokalfeed show. My name is Azura and our guest is Theresa Goh. If you were to Google her, you'll find her on Wikipedia, and from there you'll learn about her life and her sporting career. So we took this opportunity to dig deeper, much deeper than what you'll find on Google, hopefully. So on this episode, we talk about why taking a break can help you see the bigger picture. When you've achieved success in your sport, does it really mean you've achieved happiness? What does it mean to her using her voice to champion for the causes she believes in, and the importance of being more than just an athlete? Before we get to it, if you want to support us, there are a few ways you can do so. Share an episode with your friends, subscribe to our Spotify, iTunes and YouTube. And for those who's been tuning in to our podcast, thank you very much. We truly appreciate it. So without further ado, remember, be bold and stay inspired. Here is Theresa Goh. Trisha, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us. Partly the reason why we wanted you to be part of the journey is because we know who you are. If you could just share with us a bit about who you are and what do you do.
Okay, I am Theresa. I am 31 this year, and I am a national Paralympian. So I've been swimming competitively for 19 years.
Okay.
So I started competitively when I was like 12 years old.
Okay.
And I have spina bifida. My condition is called spina bifida, which very simply means that when I was born, the spinal cord didn't fuse properly.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it affected the lower limbs, and so basically all I use in the water is my upper body. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever? Okay, I know you've been asked a lot of times, like, why swimming? Or have you ever wanted to try other things besides swimming?
Yeah. So when I was starting out as a child with disability, right, I think one of the most important things is to find an activity that I can do and enjoy, so that I can lead a healthier lifestyle. So I did try everything. I tried a lot of things. I tried wheelchair racing, wheelchair tennis, wheelchair basketball, sailing, swimming, horseback riding, shooting, archery, like really everything I can try.
Okay.
But I think when it came down to swimming, I just found like the most natural affinity with it, because I felt like in the water, I feel like I can go wherever I want to go, you know. And it's very unlike on land, where I feel like I'm always kind of I can be blocked just by a simple step.
Okay.
And in the water, it's like I have nowhere that I cannot go. You know, I'm truly free in the water.
Okay.
And I really enjoy that feeling,
Okay. It's like freedom, right? In that sense, right? That you can. Okay.
It's the most amount of freedom that I feel like I can get is in the water.
Okay. Yeah. Have you always been into active lifestyle? Yeah, because I don't know, when you were younger, right? As in, have you always wanted to do sports or? What was your main motivation to pick up like things that you tried before that?
My parents asked me to try.
Seriously, they asked you to just give it a go?
I mean, at the age, I kind of just went with what they wanted me to do. I only kind of truly became more consciously interested in swimming maybe much later on. Like, I didn't really think about my love for swimming, or I didn't think I just kind of just went with the flow, you know, and only realized how much I enjoyed swimming after, maybe truthfully, only after when I think 2008.
Okay.
Because that was like, I had to take a break from swimming because I experienced my first failure in a sense, and I had to take a step away from swimming, and that's when I realized I liked it.
Okay, so
or I loved it.
Was this the 9 months break, or you stopped for a
Yeah,
while?
this is
right?
the 9 months.
That's the 9
You did your
months.
research.
We always try. Yeah, we always do.
Yeah, I know that was the 9-month break. It was after Beijing Paralympics, and when I got my 4th placing lah. And I think the 9 months away really gave me gave me a sense of how much I really enjoyed swimming. And when I was away, I needed that space, but it also gave me a chance to miss swimming again. So after that, I went back to swimming with a lot more desire, a lot more conscious training, a lot consciously in training, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I didn't grow up with a very like active mindset.
Okay, so you just kind of fell in love with it along the way.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess that's one way to put it. I went into it because I kind of had to.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't like hate it, but I went along with it.
Okay.
But only grew to love it after I had to leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I don't know. From what you mentioned, is sometimes it's good to take a step back from what you've been doing so many times to really just to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So did it happen to you? You actually looked at it as a slightly bigger picture.
Yes. I think we can get a little bit jaded sometimes. You know, if we are in a certain environment for very long periods of time, when we think it's just something that's part of our lives that we don't consciously think about that often. I think that was probably the case for me. And then when I took a step away and realized that there were certain things that were more important, or I realized were more important than in the beginning, when I thought I had only time to think about swimming. Everything was about swimming, you know. I had no time to think about friends, or I didn't put the priority of my own happiness first. And then I think that really that wasn't good for me lah, because I wasn't happy. So I think when I finally took a step back and I was able to kind of visualize everything in a bigger picture, you know, like you said, then it was easier to kind of see what was more important. It was that I was able to see the things that I was doing because I wanted to do it, not because people wanted me to do it, not because my friends or my family wanted me to do it. It's because I wanted to do it. And then I think that was the one that really changed my whole mindset about choosing certain things that I wanted to do for me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, since you mentioned that, right, what is the example? I mean, it's very important to get a balanced life, right? I know, like, for example, as an athlete like yourself, right, you drive to perfection in that sense, but you also mentioned that you get lost at it that perspective, sometimes get lost because you're so sucked into it. So what can you advise, or what can you say that's a balance? Because right now you say you've picked at the things that are important to you right now. It might or might not only be swimming, right?
Yeah.
So what
I think especially in Singapore, right, it's so results oriented. You know, everything's about whether you do well. They give you benefits if you do well. You know, they give you things that will help you in the future only if you do well. Then, like, it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, right? You cannot do well unless you are supported, but then you won't get supported unless you get results. So it's a terrible circle. But that's Singapore. And I think a lot of times in the sporting, like for athletes, especially when they are full-time athletes, or it's something that they have prioritized, it's very easy to get lost in this circle, because then they really prioritize everything around their sport, because they think that's the way to achieve happiness, is to achieve success in their sport. But then you have to understand that your whole world is not just your sport, which was something I might be simple to say, but it's something I had to learn. And I think it was important for me to understand that I had to be happy to do well. You know, I mean, that was for me personally lah. I felt like I only did well or best when I was relaxed and happy. Yeah, which I didn't get until after 2008 lah.
After that break.
So I mean, for people who need to, it's really just a personalized thing. Like, I think some people do better under when they are focused on one thing. Some people do better when they have many things to balance it out, and not just like thinking about one thing. You know, do I make sense?
Yeah, yes, of course it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's again, like you say, it's very it depends on the athlete or it depends on the person.
Yeah, I mean,
itself.
you have to go and kind of find out for yourself lah. You know, it's all about kind of self-discovery in a sense. And I think for me, I was just lucky I was able to understand what helped me get success. Yeah.
Okay. Question: during that break, right? What do you do?
As in, the
9 months break that kind of like made you a different whole new person.
I went. 9 months. I did that. 9 months. I tried a different sport.
Okay.
So I thought that maybe a change in sporting environment will help me, because at that point I didn't know if I wanted to continue swimming or go and try something else and maybe compete in that also.
Okay.
So I tried powerlifting.
Okay.
And I did that for like 9 months. I competed in one competition, and I knew that if I put my heart into it and I really focused on powerlifting, I would be able to do well.
Okay.
I've had a natural affinity with most sports. I think is I can pick it up easily, but then mastering it is a different different ball game altogether.
Totally understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like I can do well at first, and then I knew that if I put more into it, I'll be able to achieve some form of success. But then I also knew that if it is a point where I had to choose, because if I went to powerlifting, I was going to have a hard time coming back to swimming if I wanted to come back. And this was something that I still had not let go of yet.
Okay.
So I had to decide whether to choose one or the other lah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the end I chose swimming lah, because obviously I chose swimming, right? because
that's right.
because I think I felt like there was unfinished business. I felt like it's just an internal feeling that I needed to come back. Okay, it was not like anybody telling me. Nobody really told me you will regret it, or you know, it's all very internal and something that you have to listen to yourself and figure out what you want. You know.
So no one really pressured you.
No.
So you just made that decision on your own.
I think that's the one that will last or will help the most, because when you know it's something you want to do, I think it's easier to go forth and do it. I think when you have choices and you have people telling you this is the right decision, but you want to go in the left, you know, then you're never gonna wholeheartedly go into that direction, because you never wanted to go in the right direction anyway. You know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned support.
Yes.
How important is that? I know support from family, because I believe your family is very supportive, because I mean they want you to do the things that you want to do, right? In that sense, right? How about the outside support,
like
as in sports?
I think I've been very lucky, because I think I've received support from various parts of my life. The sports associations, my own like Singapore Disability Sports Council, friends, like external factors around me have been very supportive.
Okay.
And I don't really have much to complain about lah, because I think as a whole in Singapore, I think we are pretty well supported. Besides that whole like circle of like only do well, and then when you only get supported if you do well, that kind of like some people fall through the cracks. But as a whole, I think the Singapore system is quite privileged, because we do get support in most of our areas, you know. Yeah.
When did you become a full-time athlete?
So I started in 99, right? But I only the SPEC scholarship was implemented in 2013, and then I applied the first time, but I got rejected because rightfully so, because I think my results weren't up to standard lah, you know, and I wouldn't want them to just anyhow like accept people just because, right? So I mean the rejection still sucked, but I knew that I had to become better for them to accept my application. So that year after, I started working harder. I had better goals in mind to want to apply lah. So I did better, and then the next competition that needed that result, I did well enough, and then I applied again. So I finally got accepted in 2014, and I've been a SPEC scholarship on the SPEC scholar since then. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, monetary, so you don't have to worry in that sense because
I mean the monetary, like you don't really realize how, or rather I didn't really realize how stressful it could be until you start getting bills. You start having to pay for house, and then you're like, oh my god, I need the money. And then money starts being more important, but it's still not the most important to me, you know. And I feel like when you get to a point where you are so hard up and count every single cent, I think that's when you have to start reevaluating. But I also know that I am privileged enough to not have to worry about that now, you know, and I am just more wary about my expenditure and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because you are a full-time athlete. I mean, can I just ask? Let's say if the tables were turned. Let's say if you weren't supported monetarily. I mean, not all athletes are supported full-time, right? So the people always say the passion. We do what we do because we love the sport that we do, right? But sometimes, like you mentioned just now, monetary is important because you have to live day by day, right? Yeah. So what do you advise, or how would you advise someone who wants to go into sports, but they don't have that kind of monetary support? Yeah. I mean,
I know a lot of people who are not supported and deserve to be. And it's so hard because as an athlete, for me, just knowing how important and how hard it is to keep the passion, and then knowing these people who fight every day just to kind of feed themselves and to feed their sport, like you just bow to them, you know, because they're so the drive is there, the determination is there. You I kind of wish I had just half of that. Because, you know, I think it's so hard to find these days that passion and drive. I think for someone who is not being supported, there are other avenues you can kind of seek to get support, whether monetary or equipment or apparel. Like there are avenues to get support, but unfortunately, I mean reality strikes, you know, because you still have to have some form of success or show that you have potential for success. And sometimes life is not fair, and I wish it were more fair. I wish life were more kind, but it's not. I mean, if you know certain people that can get you in with the right people, that will help also, you know, of course. But I think once you have that real like determination and extreme passion to want to do well, you'll be able to find a way, you know. And I feel like success is also very subjective. Like, I mean, in a very general sense, the general public would just deem success as a medal, right? Yeah. But I don't think so. Like, I feel like there's so many better ways to kind of to call success, because in that sense, like, wouldn't you say like so many people are successful, but then maybe some people who have gotten so many medals wouldn't say that they are successful? You know, I think different people have different ideas of success. And for me, like, I feel like my own success is determined by an overall sense of how I feel about my career. So I cannot say that whether I'm successful or not yet, because I haven't come to the end of it yet. I think once I come to the end of my career, then I kind of view it back and determine whether I'm successful or not, which I cannot say yet because it's not over yet. But it's really very subjective, and I think I wish we could change the word, the determination. I mean the interpretation, the definition of success. Because it would change a lot of mindsets, and I think it would make that whole like idea of how you view a person's value, you know, it'll be healthier.
That means it's true, because I mean the process, I think what people don't see is what you've actually been through to get where you are, in a sense, to that medal, right? I mean that can be a success journey in that sense, right? It's not just the end result.
There's like so many measures of success, and I won't like refuse the fact that a medal is a measure of success, because that's what it's there for. It's to tell you got one of the top 3, right? And I accept it as a measure of success, but I feel like we should also be a society that sees more than just the medals, because it's actually very harmful. It's like contributing to a very harmful mindset of the kind of person or athlete that the athlete wants to be. And I think we could do better than that, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, in the sense that it's more like a superficial. I mean, you know, like a superficial.
Yeah, it's very basic. It's very like on the surface.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would rather support, honestly, an athlete who is kind and maybe 4th place than an athlete who got gold and is a asshole.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
That's
but
true.
most
That's
people
fair.
don't really care about
Yeah,
that. You know, they
yeah.
see this person is a multiple gold medalist and everything, and they don't really care what kind of person they are. And I think in this day and age, I would rather support a person who is human and kind than someone who's not. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's
Personal belief. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want to push my personal.
No, but it's true. I mean, it really is true. It's like you said, this day and age, people usually support the brand. Like, I mean, person is considered a brand in that sense, right?
Yeah.
It's who they are, what they stand for, rather than just some superficial thing.
Do they?
Yeah, in the day and age.
I hope so. That'd be nice. Like, I think that there's a good shift in mindset. Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that this is kind of is this a beginning, middle, a career, 3/4? What is it going to be like for you the next 2 or 3 years? What do you see yourself doing?
So career-wise, I mean, whether it's competitive swimming or whether it's just career in general, like I think my swimming career might be. I mean, I go through like ups and downs. I really have no idea.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like it's the end. Sometimes I feel like it's the middle. You know, and I think it's because it's very much based on a very internal feeling for me, whether I want to continue or not.
Okay.
That sometimes I just go through periods of like, no, like I'm done, or like I'm not done yet. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's very confusing, even to me.
It's like a midlife crisis.
Yes.
Like.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, it's troublesome. Very frustrating. Okay. But like it's something that I'm going through lah. So I feel like I'm still unsure whether it's the end or the middle. It's definitely not the beginning.
Okay.
But like career-wise, whether it's not just swimming, I definitely think it's more on the beginning side. You know, I want to move on to something else. I want to do something that is also fulfilling and something that I want to do more lah. I don't want to just be swimming. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any idea roughly or what have you considered or even thought about that you wanted to do?
I mean, recently I've become more involved in activist work or activist type stuff. I'm traveling to overseas to be a representative of an LGBT athlete, especially in Asia. In Singapore, I'm also speaking to a lot of different companies about being not just an out athlete, but also being a para athlete who's out, because that is it's even harder to find. You know, so I think just because I know it's such a hard representative to encompass and so hard to find, like I don't want it to be just an empty space. I want to fill that void, and I want to be able to be that person that I probably wanted to see when I was young. Because I mean, just as a young kind of child with disability, you look in the media, you don't see anybody on a wheelchair. TV, you know, newspaper, not really. And even if you do, it's a stereotype or a villain. You know, and like you don't want to grow up thinking, oh, all I'm ever gonna be is a villain or you know, or a stereotype. So I think because of that, I definitely don't want to continue that vicious cycle lah. So just being able to be that for hopefully other people is something that I want to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking in that space lah. Trying to do more, speak out more, and talk about my experiences a lot more, and normalize things. You know, I think when people nowadays, you see more and more people on wheelchair out in the streets, right? I think it's a lot easier for people to kind of normalize people with disabilities. You know, when you see it more, you understand it's not just a myth. It's not just maybe they exist but they don't really exist. You know, it's easier to kind of put a human to these things. Yeah.
What struggles? I want to touch a bit about that, right? Because you mentioned like a myth or not, if they do exist or not exist. But what struggles do you have? I mean, are there, you know, because I know I had a space like 4 years ago. There's this guy, I cannot remember his name, but he went to FMBs and tried to make their space like accessible for like
wheelchair.
Yeah,
oh, really?
wheelchair. Yeah.
Is it Filipino guy?
No, he's okay. Never mind. We'll
Okay.
yeah, but okay. How? Okay, yeah. You just share
About the struggles.
Yeah,
Is it
about
on?
the struggles.
It's on.
It's on.
Sorry, I keep yeah, the struggle, but I got distracted.
You
Yeah.
struggle with it.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, personally, as struggles
Yeah.
Okay, I think growing up as a person on a wheelchair, I am quite mobile. Like I can move around on my own. I can travel around pretty independently on my own.
Okay.
And I'm lucky to be able to do that lah. I'm lucky that my parents brought me up pretty independently. I usually don't need any help whenever I go out or do anything daily life stuff. But I think in Singapore there are certain places that you just need a little bit more assistance. You know, I won't say I have had struggles compared to a lot of my friends who have a little bit more severe disabilities. Like Singapore is not bad as when it comes to accessibility, but it still could use a lot more help in like small areas.
Okay.
So I mean small things like if the lift button is too high, sometimes my friends can't reach it, you know, because they cannot lift their arms. If the door is very heavy and it's not auto door, then they need someone to open for them.
Okay.
For me, like I can open doors on my own, I can reach higher, you know. If it's one small step, I can go on my own, but if it's two, then it becomes trouble.
Okay.
You know. And I think sometimes you just don't really consciously realize just how something so small like that can affect someone's day and life, you know. And I think I feel like all we want to be is be able to be our own people and independent and not have to rely on people so much, you know. Or at least that's for me lah. I want to be able to go out and do my own things without having to worry about whether I need to talk to people or whether I need to ask for help or whether I'm gonna get stopped halfway because the lift isn't working, you know. I mean it's just simple as being able to go on my daily life without having to depend on people.
Okay.
It's an independence thing. Maybe it's an ego thing, but like it's because I've grown up having a pretty independent life that I think if it was taken away, I would be quite bothered.
Okay.
And it's something that I think it's a privilege to say, because there are so many people who depend on or need help in their daily life that will find it so much harder to get a sense of independence, you know, as what I experienced lah. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, but throughout the years, you've seen improvements.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
throughout the years, like past 10 years lah, definitely a lot better. Buses are all accessible. Trains, I can go really in Singapore pretty much 90%, 80%, 90%. I can go on wherever I want. It's only like the older buildings or when sometimes the toilets they're accessible but then they're locked because like it's spoiled, or then they don't fix it for months, you know. Like I mean small things like that lah. Like toilets are so much more important than people realize. Like sometimes I just want to pee, right, but it's so hard to pee because there's just no accessible toilet, or the toilets are like wet and dirty, and or it's just too small, you know. Like I mean sometimes we just need to consider or put ourselves in other people's shoes lah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean I guess yeah.
I mean like something I want to do for certain, I mean in the future lah. I was thinking about, my friends and I were thinking about this kind of a workshop thing where we get people, corporates to kind of sit on a wheelchair for a day or an hour, you know, just to kind of experience it, just a taste of it. But then maybe it'll be easier to kind of visualize and be able to put yourself in other people's chairs.
I mean,
like I think it would be a different experience, and you'll be forced to kind of think about things a bit more. Yeah.
True. I mean, because on a different, because you mentioned wheelchair, because I've been in a wheelchair a few times because of injury. So I know how hard it is to get from places, and then you can't. I
mean, like for some people, if they have a cast and then they're on a wheelchair for like a temporary period, then if they encounter a step, they can kind of still stand up and get past the step. But what about those who are unable to even stand up or move, you know? I think sometimes we forget about those people lah. Yeah.
Okay, that's a cool idea. Maybe you should try.
I will consider.
You try to consider.
I need to
put
go
out a proposal campaign for that. We'll support you. Kickstarter. Kickstarter.
Yeah, why not, man? I'll think about it.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to touch one last bit about your sports, and then we're going to go into the things that you champion, like the LGBT and stuff. Okay. Last one. The one that Rio 2016.
Yes.
How was that for you?
We forgot about that. I forgot about that.
I didn't forget about that.
I forgot about that. I don't know, man. Rio was life changing, and very a bit like like kind of challenges my own beliefs because before Rio, before I went for events in Rio, like the whole journey towards Rio, I was thinking, you know what? I was in a much better mental state, emotional state. Physically, I was ready. But I told myself, you know what? It's gonna be similar to Beijing and you have to be prepared for failure. So you kind of train for success, but you prepare for failure, because I think that's something that a lot of people don't prepare for. And then when they do encounter failure, which we almost always do, then they fall really hard because they don't prepare. So I think that's something that we need to talk about more. Failure, it's not something to be ashamed of lah, you know. So before it started, I was like, you know what, anything happens, no matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay. No medal is fine. I'll be fine. Okay. But then, like, I feel like I can only say that because I did get my medal, you know. And I always say that you shouldn't base someone's value on their medal, which I still strongly believe in. But then I also don't know whether people are agreeing with that because I have gotten my medal. You know, it's a very hard thing to kind of process sometimes, because you're like, people who never get medals athletes who don't get their medals, sometimes it's just by a hair, and it doesn't mean they're any less of an athlete than they are. They're still amazing, but people don't pay attention because they just didn't clinch that. Just that day they were not the top 3, you know. And then they should still be seen as the entire value lah. But then I'll be like, are they only listening because I did get my medal, you know? So it's very hard sometimes to kind of understand lah. But yeah.
Okay, was it one of your biggest moments?
It was the biggest moment.
Yeah, right?
It was the biggest
moment.
It was because I feel like I felt everything led to that moment.
Okay.
Even everything that happened in Beijing, the down parts, the down moments led to that success for me lah. Because it was really very similar to Beijing. Because I still trained, like I was training full time for Beijing. I was training full time for Rio. My parents went to Beijing. My parents went to Rio. Okay. We had a really amazing team, you know. The only difference that I felt for the two was that I was ready for Rio, mentally and emotionally. I think for Beijing I was physically ready, but I wasn't mentally strong enough, and I also wasn't prepared for failure. So I was so caught up in the I must get something that I wasn't prepared for what if I didn't. So when I didn't get something, I couldn't take it, and I was devastated. I was torn. I was broken. I was not ready, you know. I think I should have. I won't say I should have, because I don't believe in regrets also. I believe it all led to being able to learn all these lessons so that I can transfer it to Rio, which was amazing. Because when I woke up for Beijing for my race, I was so stressed out. I wasn't hungry. I couldn't talk to my coach. I couldn't joke to my coach. And he could tell that there was something up with me lah. So he kept trying to kind of bring me out of my whole headspace and try and get me talking, but it just wasn't working because I was just so stressed out. And then when it came to Rio, I woke up, I was hungry, I was happy, I was relaxed. Like, it was a huge difference. And I think when I finally got to the block and I swam, it made a whole lot of difference because it was the fastest I've ever swam in my entire career.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that also was like a seriously, like I swim so much better when I'm happy and relaxed.
Okay.
Compared to like Beijing where I'm just so tense and so like I can't, you know, like yeah. So like it just teaches me a lot of things lah.
Okay. So that was okay. So that moment, because you mentioned you took a break, and then you know now that you need to be happy and
relaxed.
Yeah, relaxed to do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess yep, you're saying.
No, I mean it really depends on people lah. Some people do better when they're relaxed. Some people need to have that. They need to find their own level of nervousness that helps them, because I think some people do better when they're like super chill. Some people do better when they're like moderately chill.
Some people like
and then they do very well. So like it's all about really knowing yourself lah. You know. So for me, I kind of have my own balance of which is good for me. Yeah, which have learned only over the many years. Yeah.
But it's a process.
It is a process. Yeah.
Besides being a Paralympian, right? You believe in using your voice to champion the causes that you believe in. That just now you mentioned the LGBTQ
rights. Yeah,
rights, right? So why do you think it's important for you to do that?
So it also kind of boils down to what I said earlier about how I feel like it's more important for you to be a kind human being than a societally, forget it.
Okay, socially. Okay.
Like it's better for you to be a kind human being than to be what society deems as a successful person. Because I feel like in this day and age that so much is happening that I feel like if you do have a voice and you don't use it for something, I feel like it's a waste. But I also don't feel like anyone's obligated to speak up for something that they don't want to. You know, I only believe in speaking up for something that you feel is important and something that you feel you want to speak out on. So I think especially after Rio, when I think there was a lot more media attention on us, on me, and me just being generally uncomfortable with the spotlight. I felt like I needed to do something to bring that spotlight more meaning. So I wanted to talk about things that I felt like deserved more attention than just talking about my swimming, because I don't think it's worth like that much attention lah. So I felt like this is the right time to speak up and speak out, and also because like my family situation is so good. Like I'm just supported in every way that I can possibly think of. I'm not in a country where I feel like it's dangerous to be who I am compared to places like Russia or Indonesia, maybe, you know, places where people can get killed just for being who they are, or like most recently Tanzania. So just that, all that added up together, it made me feel like I could not be silent. So I started talking about it more lah. You know, just any space that I feel like I can speak up or can be heard, then I want to do it. You know, and at first I was a bit afraid because I just don't know. It's something that I had never done before, so I didn't know how much I could go, how much I could talk about. And I think as you push and you realize you can do more and more, then you want to do more and more, you know, and considering, you know, that hopefully it will make a change to the future of not just your own rights, but like many other people's rights, that you just want to try to do something rather than not doing anything at all. You know, I don't want to. The main point is that at the end of my life, I don't want to feel like I regretted anything lah. I don't want to feel like I should have done this, I should have done that. So I'm doing all this just because I feel like I don't want to waste my life. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Singapore being a very like you said that how do I say this? That we are relatively lucky that, you know, we're not being shot or killed for being who we are. I mean, if our government doesn't allow it and stuff like that, but Singapore is still conservative in that sense, right? So I mean, you being the face of you're a Paralympian, Singapore athlete, right? Have you ever felt that pressure, or have you ever got like, haters saying like, what were you thinking, or what the heck
What are you doing? What are you saying?
Yeah, why are you saying these things?
Shut up. I haven't gotten any negative feedback directly, which I am actually very surprised. After I did my Straits Times article coming out, I was expecting some hate. I was expecting mails, messages, but I didn't get any. And I think maybe a lot of the negative feedback was kind of channeled into one Facebook group.
Okay. Okay.
That they all just needed to like talk about it in their own Facebook channel, whatever. But it never came to me, which I am a bit surprised, So I was like ready to kind of I was ready with my walls up, kind of. I was ready for anything that people would throw at me or say to me, for at least a month maybe. But nothing came. Instead of like what I was expecting, there was actually a lot more supportive messages. There were people messaging telling me that thank you for doing this because you are making me feel a lot braver to come out. Or like parents who tell me that it's a very courageous thing I did, by doing that article. It just made me like pleasantly surprised and made me feel like it's something that is definitely worth doing continuously and for the future lah.
Okay, that's good. I'm
not saying that I don't expect any in the future because I guess in some way, just by standing up for what you believe in, you have to always be prepared for somebody speaking out against you lah.
Sure.
So I am ready eventually, but I think in the end I believe that the people who will show love to me will be more than people who will show me hate lah. So I while I'm ready, I'm also ready for people to support me.
Okay, besides the LGBTQ, right, I'm not sure, were you part of like women equality? Do you believe in that?
Of course. What? Women don't need lah. Please.
No, okay. We want to hear yours. Your views on it.
Okay, so everything that we believe in is all shaped by info we take in, people we meet, books we read. Like any information we take in from social media or whatever is going to shape the way we think. And which is also why I feel like I control a bit of what I view. I try not to view those very stereotypically, like how beauty should look, how I don't know, how a doctor should look, that kind of thing, where people are always very one-dimensional, or if it's always majority white faces or majority Chinese faces, like that is going to be something that will shape your worldview also. So you try and kind of shape your own worldview. You kind of view more diverse types of people, backgrounds, things like that, that will lead me to wanting to shape the life that I want or the world that I want to live in lah, So I definitely believe in equal rights for women. I also speak out about disability rights because not just for me personally, but people who may not be as lucky as me, they deserve a lot more opportunities. I think in general, just being able to speak out for injustice whenever you see it, I try to. It's very hard because that's the first step, When you see something or you hear something that your friend says and you don't agree with, sometimes it can be very hard to say something, but it's the small things that matter. So I definitely kind of identify myself as a queer intersectional feminist, for sure. I believe in equal rights for everybody, and if you are someone who has more power, I think you should speak up, but also not take over the spaces that minority groups can speak up for themselves. Like, for example, white men speaking about the injustice of a black disabled woman, she can speak up for herself.
That's right.
In a way, that's what I feel. They have good intentions for sure, but sometimes that's just not enough lah.
Okay. You mentioned about feminists.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think guys are feminists too? Or what is your definition of feminist? Feminism.
Wow, very hard. Sad. Feminism, I think it's sometimes I don't know whether different places have different definitions of feminism. For me, very simply, feminism just is like when you believe in equal rights for everybody lah. I think human rights is just that, you know. Feminism, well, I I think it's very different when you just kind of say feminist when you compared to when you specify maybe intersectional feminists, you know, because I know there's some people who identify themselves as feminists but they don't believe in rights for trans women or women of color. Like their feminism has a limit, which then that's their own definition of feminist, you know. But by right lah, I think it should encompass everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's your
my definition is equal rights for everybody lah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, by right, it shouldn't even be just for women or just for men. It should be
everybody.
everyone.
Like I mean, there is a different power dynamic because of the way different people are viewed, you know, and there's different levels lah. But like when you're all being able to kind of be given opportunities or so as if this is a privileged person who doesn't have to worry about anything, and then you have this person like by giving this person more opportunity to be able to get to the same level, I think that's when you know that there's equal rights lah. Not when you are given the same thing, because this person doesn't need the same thing.
Okay.
They have enough, but this person needs so much more. Then you have to provide, you know, to be able to let them be on the same platform. Yeah, something like that lah. I'm still learning also, but I'm trying to like kind of process along the way and get to hopefully the place that I feel like most accurately is the place I want to be lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a continuously learning journey.
Yeah, I mean that's very nice. I mean from the conversations that we had, it's like you're always in a step to always be a better version of yourself.
That is the whole deal. Like to be better than yourself yesterday lah. I mean I'm sure I made mistakes. I probably I've gone through many phases of like even thinking I don't want to be called disabled because I thought that was the right thing. Don't call me disabled. But then after that, realizing why? Because people view disability as a bad thing. So I shouldn't say I don't want to be disabled, right? You know, because there's nothing wrong with being disabled. Then you change again your mindset and like I want to be called a person with disability or a disabled person because that is taking back the power in a sense, you know. Like so you kind of like really continuously shape yourself until you find you are the best version of yourself.
Okay.
That you want to be lah. Not anybody wants you to be because you yourself know whether you're comfortable with something that you say, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I know I like if I say something I know this is not quite right, you know, I will find the better version of what I want to mean, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We're going to do something fun.
Oh, yay.
Well, hang on a minute. So some people think it's stressful, but I think it's fun. I think
Some people think it's stressful.
It digs
Oh dear.
deeper.
Oh my god.
But it's fun. Okay. So
you say it's fun lah.
different perspective.
Oh my god.
Okay. What's something most people don't know about you that you're really proud of?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a bit stressful. That I'm very proud of. Okay,
Yes.
I don't know if many people know this, but I give very good hugs.
Okay.
And I'm very proud of it because
Okay.
I don't know, like it's something that I've gotten good feedback on, and I
Okay.
think I like that I'm able to make people feel better with my hugs.
Yeah, I know hugs
Yeah.
are important.
Yeah.
Hugs are very. I mean, it's true.
I'll show you later.
I think that okay. She's not a hugger, but okay. I'll
No, consent. No, only if you want, then I will.
yeah. Okay lah. I mean, for me, okay lah. It's okay.
Yeah.
It just has to happen naturally. Okay. Sorry. Okay. 3 truths. I mean, 3 lessons that you want to share. If today were your last day on earth, something that you
Wow.
want to leave. Your
I know what
wisdom
people say is
behind.
stressful. I had to think about dying already.
No lah, as in,
If it was my last day lah.
Yeah, because you live. I mean, everyone lives each day. By the way, everyone should live each day like it's their last one.
In
You
a
never
sense,
know
yeah,
what
yeah.
is going to happen the
For
next
sure.
day. So three lessons to leave your wisdom behind.
Three lessons. I guess okay lah. I mean, there are three things that I usually try and tell people that I believe very strongly in, and they should hopefully start including in their life.
Okay.
To be kind, to be brave, and to be yourself. Okay. Those are the three things, because I feel like if you follow these three, you will lead as fulfilled a life as you can, or what I believe lah. Being kind is not hard, I think, unless you're naturally an evil person. But I think being kind is very easy. It's just and it's also kind of a chain reaction. If you're kind to someone, they will have a good impression, they have a good day, they pass it on to somebody else. It's just a good circle. Being kind, being brave is harder, because being brave, you actually have to do something that kind of scares you. But I also think it's important, because sometimes the things that scare you are good for you. And you need this fear lah to kind of bring you to the next level. Being yourself is the most important, because I feel like in this day and age, just so many people that people say you need to be like. Which is why I don't really believe in role models. I don't believe in inspirational figures, because I feel like they can let you down. You know, like if you say you believed in this person and they're such great role models for you, and then they turn out to be, I don't know, sex offenders or
douchebags,
or assholes, and then what? Then what happens to your inspiration or your motivation? Like, it just drops like that. So I feel like the people who can give you the best in motivation is yourself. So to be yourself lah, you know, I think is key to leading a very, very fulfilled life.
So those are 3 lessons. So that's very powerful 3 words. I
hope so. To me lah.
Yeah, it's okay. It is. Okay. What is your definition of legacy? Your own definition of legacy. Yeah, what you want to leave behind.
So what legacy do I want to leave behind?
No,
or what's my definition?
What is like not a literal definition, but what do you
define?
What does it mean to you? Yeah, what does
to leave my legacy? It's not that important, I think. I don't really have a grand like scheme of plans to want people to remember me by. It's more of a smaller thing, like being able to influence small groups of people, which will hopefully lead to a better world lah, you know. But I don't really have a desire to leave a legacy, honestly.
Well, but that is a legacy, right? In a bit, because you've actually in smaller groups. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, to be honest with you, the legacy doesn't have to be a big
thing.
Yeah, a big thing, right? You can some people approach it as a macro, some people micro. You know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because legacy seems like such a big word. I was like, I'm like, legacy is scary, No. So like, yeah. I mean, if in smaller groups, I definitely feel like I want to do that. Like in small groups of many people, to be able to hopefully make the world better lah. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, fun stuff. It's nice, very fun.
I don't know what to believe you anymore.
Okay, actually, right, I forgot one more question.
Okay.
Sorry. What is your most humbling experience?
My most humbling experience, definitely Beijing.
Beijing, okay.
Yeah. Up to Beijing, I was actually just, I guess what I would call just success all the way lah. You know, I was winning a lot of medals. I was getting a lot of world records. I was doing very well. Excuse me. I was doing very well. I was not. I felt like I was on an upward trend, which is also why I found it hard to accept failure. You know, and I guess probably at the time my ego was big. I was like not ready to accept that I was going to fail. And that just made the failure harder and the fall harder. So after that experience, understanding that the world didn't revolve around me, the world went on after I got my 4th placing. Everything went on as per normal. The only one that wasn't going on as per normal was myself. I had gotten to a standstill. I was not ready to accept the defeat. So I think that was really humbling for me to understand that just where you are in the whole grand scheme of the world, just how much you don't matter, but you matter at the same time.
Okay.
Like, it's very confusing to me. I was going through a whole thing. Okay, I was going through a whole thing then, and like the next few years, because it was truly like every time I thought about the experience of Beijing, I was sad. I was instantly sad, and it's just unable to kind of grasp the whole concept of that really happened, but move on. You know, it was hard to just understand that. So when I learned finally to accept everything that happened and to understand how important it was, the priority of being happy and putting myself first, and doing things that I wanted to do, and then that really changed a lot of things for me lah. Yeah, and I was also a lot more grounded and definitely humbled by the experience. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that journey really changed you.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. This is the fun stuff. Okay. 5 seconds. I think I'm going to do this like 5 questions. Okay. In 5 seconds, you got 5 questions to answer as 5 seconds to answer. So each question is 5 seconds. Okay.
I will try.
Okay. Shit, I cannot ask you someone you look up to because you just said you really Okay. Okay. Craziest thing you like to do?
I don't have anything crazy.
Top of your mind.
Skydiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone you look up to?
Anybody taller than me.
Let's go. Good one. In one sentence, how will you sum up social media?
Fake but important.
Okay, fake but important. Okay.
Yeah.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Okay. Why? Okay, wait. If there were
Is it a psychologist session?
if there were ever to be a zombie apocalypse, what choice of weapon would you have?
I would die. No. What? My wheelchair will kill me.
No. What weapon?
Like a bat.
A bat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
I really don't know, because I feel like if you get a gun, you run out of bullets,
Yes,
and then you
right.
die still.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
if you get a bat, it's long, and you can just like whack.
And you got awesome arms. You got.
I'll get tired. And I feel I cannot run away, so I will die. Or like,
No, don't say that. Don't say that. Okay.
I need a bat. I need more time to think about it. I need a very good armor, or like a shield around me. I don't have to fight ma.
Yeah,
Just
that's
go
true.
around and then I got shielded.
That's true. That's true.
But that's not a weapon.
Yeah. It can be a weapon. A
Really?
shield can be a weapon.
Or use your invisibility.
Oh yeah, I see. It's.
But then I'm counted. Am I supposed to bring that over to the next question?
You might. Okay. Okay. That's okay. How can we support you?
How can you support
Yeah.
me?
How can we? Sorry. Just all the fun out there. How can
Is
we
that the 5 questions?
Okay, yes, that was the 5 questions.
Oh my god.
Next time I should ask you, like, you can bring it forward. It should be a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So you think about that. I will ask you, what would you want for your weapon as a
Okay.
zombie
Okay.
apocalypse? If really, for example, you already have your invisibility.
Okay.
But okay. Let's not join. Okay.
Complicated.
Okay. Thank you for taking your time. I mean, I hope you had fun. We had fun.
I did.
Okay. How can we support you? As in Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
Yes.
social media.
You can share my stuff, I guess.
Okay.
I don't really post that much. I guess original content. I also try to share like views and opinions and posts by other people, which I think their views matter. On Instagram, I'm on Willie WHEELIE _WONKA.
Okay.
Willy Wonka. I'm on Twitter, Theresa Goh _
Okay.
or I'm on Facebook. You can just find me. I'm the one with the Rio medal.
Very well. Yeah, there's only one. Theresa Goh.
I hope there's only one, like
Yeah.
one Theresa Goh. Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, just in your own spaces lah. Just being able to speak up for your own causes, things that you believe in. Make sure people who are not usually heard are heard more. You know, try to be more conscious in the content you view, books you read, TV shows you watch. They all have power in shaping your worldview. You know, so when you like example, recently I've been watching this cooking show
Yeah. Which-
that's hosted by I think it's a Muslim woman who's also not say skinny, you know. She's a bit on the bigger side, but she's unabashedly enjoying her food, sharing what she does, how she cooks, and it's only refreshing because we don't see content like this. And I think when you are able to share and view content like this, you are able to change how you feel about how the world should be also. So I think sharing things like this controlling what you view, what people view, what you share on your post matters lah. Yeah.
So you mentioned content, which right now sometimes we really need real content, right? Real, non-stereotypical content in that sense, right? In a way.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a kind of a responsibility. Some people don't really think about it because they think, one person won't change anything. But when one person and one person and one person and one person add together, it's still a lot of people, you know. So when you are able to control what you put out, that already makes a difference, because there's going to be so many people viewing your content. When you do things like this, just knowing who you put on the program and the types of people people are going to view, it makes a difference. Yeah.
I really thank you for taking the time to sit down with us.
Hello.
For sharing us. Thank you.